welcome to Perm in Russia. We are here for another Lead and Speed World Cup with the IFSC. Perm is located in the European section of eastern Russia, next to the Ural Mountains and the Kama River. It has a population of roughly 1 million people, and up until 1957, it was known as Molotov. Now, there is some discussion as to where the new name for the city came from. One of those sources says it's from a Vespian word called Parama, which means the faraway land. If that is the case, we're about to bring that faraway land a little bit closer to you over the next few days as we move through 57 athletes in the lead category and 50 in the speed. Let's take a look at the start lists. Mikhail Chernikov starting things off for Russia here on the home turf. Lucas Cobb following him over then, and then Armen Terminason back to Russia again for our third competitor. Loic Timmermans, Manu Roman, Francesco Vetterata, Ramon Julien Blanc, Alexandra Kalina and Min Hyun-bin on our first 9 then. So some big names already, even from the very off here today. Orvetchler have been seeing more and more often for Israel. Thomas Tauporn, Gleb Volikov, Roman de Grange, Yuri Novitsky, Dmitry Fakiryanov, Dmitry Bogomlanov, Wang Qingha and Gautier Super on our second page for our 18 athletes. All in all, 32 here for the men's lead and 25 female athletes to show you a little bit later on as well. On to our third page, Mario Lechner, Evgeny Zazulin, Arseny Kupchuk, Clement Betchen, Andrei Shagin, Viktor Mushin, Semen Chesnikov, Stefano Gazolfi and Veslavod Linki. Our final page then, Thomas Ballet, Domen Skofic, Christoph Hanke, Jakob Schubert and Kim Ya-bi. Those are our 32 athletes starting things off today. We'll take you over to the wall now, and we are fast approaching the end of our first climb here with Mikhail Chernikov. He has another climb later on today, so don't worry, you're going to catch him again in action in a few hours' time as well. So we get to break after this one, but we have just started with Mikhail. For a moment, here is the women's league qualifications. Barbara Bakker, Dinara Fakritanova on there as well, Ellen Janiko, Ekaterina Golovina, Kim Jae-in, Momoka Oda and Mathilde Brumain, all in the first 9 there as well. So again, mixing up the big names right from the very off today. A lot of coverage to get through as we move through the rest of today. Magdalena Roek, Nikki van Bergen, Jana Sherishneva, Tina Sesterzik there as well. Evgenia Malamid towards the bottom and Natalia Stepanova. We've just seen our very first top of the day by Mikhail Chernikov. Last page then for the female athletes, Jenny Levada, Dana Glimkanova, Yang Rong, Anna Saiganova, Katerina Posch, Mina Markovic and Yuka Kobayashi. Those are your athletes here today. So we move through the competition for the men's and women's Group 1 first lead. Welcome if you are joining us. Remember, as always, you can get in touch with us here at the venue on Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. Welcome to Commander, who's joining us from Canada at the moment. Great start there for Mikhail Chernikov. Straight on to our next male athlete. Very good morning to you, wherever you're joining us from. Time here at the venue is currently 22:10. Getting things underway first with our male athletes before we move on to our female athletes as well. We'll be then taking a little bit of a break from climbing, the opening ceremony here in Perm, and then we will come back with the qualifications Group 2 a little bit later on today. We then take another short break, come back with the speed qualifications, and then move on to the speed final rounds as we move through to this evening as well. So we've got a huge day of coverage for you today, a very full day of coverage. So do stay tuned. So we're here now with Lucas Cobb. In a few moments' time, then I'll be talking to some of the route setters here, the head route setters. So we're having a brief conversation with Vincent and also Matthew, who's our chief route setter here. We're talking to those guys in roughly 10 to 15 minutes time. Show you a little bit of an interview with them, talking about the routes that they've set here, how long they've been working on them, and what they're intending for the qualifications, the semis and the finals as well. Another shout out to Cam, who's back with us again, frequent follower as we move around the world, and also becoming a frequent competitor over the next few years, we hope. Cam saying, tell you what's nice, being able to watch a World Cup in normal waking hours. Those are normal waking hours for you, Cam. For us right now, it's about 4 o'clock in the morning. Not here at the venue though, of course. It is roughly 9:45 local time here. In the morning, that is. I hope you're enjoying, Cam. Get in touch with us if you want to. You can do so on Twitter, hashtag IFSCWC. Any questions, any people you want to speak to. I'm going to do a bit of a running around today. We've got a roaming camera down on the ground a little bit later on. We're going to be moving about trying to catch some interviews with the athletes while they're gathered at the bottom of the wall. Have a bit more of an interactive experience because we've got quite a long one to get through today for you. Remember also, you can keep up to date with all of the results as they come in on the IFSC's page, which if you're not on it at the moment is www.ifsc-climbing.org. Ooh, a fall there for Lucas. Good first effort, but roughly 7 or 8 moves away from a top there. We have seen a top already on this route. Our very first climber, Mikhail Chernikov. No real surprises there. We're used to seeing Mikhail push towards finals, or at least very high semis. Lucas has another climb later on today. So yes, if you want to keep up to date with all the results as they are coming in, you can do that by getting onto the IFSC's page. And if you want to get in touch with me, you know where to go. Another shout out to anyone that might be joining us here at the moment. If you want to get onto the IFSC's Facebook page as well, that is www.facebook.com/sportclimbing. Get on there, give them a like. You can see all the updates brought right to you on your Facebook page to let you know where we are in the world and what's going on. They also host competitions. All the excitement, get yourself onto www.facebook.com/sportclimbing and give them a like on there as well. So our next athlete then is Armen Terminason. We go back over to a Russian athlete now. Born and lives in Moscow, 6th at the Men's League European Cup in Ekaterinburg this year, 9th at the World Championships in Paris. Just missing out on that spot in the finals in Paris last year, 13th at the Men's Lead Climbing World Cup in Imst, 2012. And was 66th on the World Cup rankings at the end of 2011. That just goes to show you how quickly these athletes can improve. It goes especially for some of the youth athletes that we'll see a little bit later on today. Armen Terminason for Russia, born in 1992. One of the younger athletes here. A lot younger still yet to come. Dmitry Fakiryanov will be out a little bit later on as well. We have high hopes for him here on his home turf. Hopefully if he can keep that excitement under wraps, not get too far ahead of himself. He is a master of finding rests in places where there are no rests. We were talking to some of the senior athletes just recently, and Sebastian as well. Sebastian Halenki over in Perm just recently for the World Cup there. Saw some fantastic climbs over in Perm. If you want to watch anything that you might have missed on the IFSC's World Cup season, you can get yourself onto the YouTube if you're not on there at the moment. Go onto the IFSC's channel. Something that I would suggest that you do watch if you have missed it is Kim Yain's climb to take the title in Perm just recently. Talk about a perfect climb. Don't know whether any of you were watching when that was going on, but if you weren't, you can find it on the YouTube right now and recap that one. A fantastic final climb there. A perfect climb, almost, being Sebastian was saying. So another top there and a strong start for Russia here at the qualifications in Perm. Both Mikhail Chernikov and Armen Terminason starting things off with a top. These routes have been set by our French chief route setter, Mathieu. I'll be talking to him in a few minutes' time about what we're looking at here in Perm. It's clearly to the Russian style by the look of things. And next athlete out there will be young Loic Timmermans for Belgium. Another one of the youth athletes that's got a pretty impressive rap sheet based on previous youth competitions. Starting to now improve with a quite impressive rap sheet on the seniors as well. Loic coached by Christophe de Potter and his trainer Fred de Meyer. He's been climbing since he was 5 years old. Loic now starts on qualification 1. And there you can see Jakob next to Lucas, sitting down having a look. Lucas, no doubt, a little bit concerned about that top section of the wall. He's probably going to be watching these athletes that come out now. He's probably just been watching the Russian athlete Armen Terminason as he topped to figure out what exactly went wrong with his climb on those last 7 moves. Loic Timmermans here now then for Belgium. 4 times gold medalist on the European Youth Cups in 2012. Also competes in bouldering as well as lead. We're located in this big sports stadium here in Perm. You might be able to notice a bit on the bottom of the floor there. That's a running track you can see at the bottom of the wall, moving all the way around this indoor arena. A lot of activities to do as well if you are local to Perm and you're able to get down here to the venue over the next few days. There's bungee things going on. And we've also got an interesting opening ceremony for you coming up a little bit later on as well. So this is Group 1 for the men's. In a moment we should be bringing out the first of our Group 1 women athletes as well. And we've then got Group 2 later on for you, which in this case is the same athletes coming out to climb the second route. Same order though. After that, we'll take a very brief break before we come back with the speed qualifications and the speed final rounds as well. Luik taking a moment there to grab a little bit more chalk before he carries on into this slopery sort of section here. Now this is a couple of moves now just ahead of where we lost Lucas Cobb earlier. These are the last 2 to 3 moves now that Luik is moving onto. It's not a particularly long route, this one. There is an incline on the wall, but it is relatively slight. It's 19.5 meters in height, the lead wall here. And this is a top now for Loic Timmermans. It's looking like they've got a relatively easy route to start things off with here, the male athletes competing in the lead. And because of that, we're expecting the second route to be pretty tricky for these athletes. Hoping the route setters are going to put in a little bit more division here. We would expect that from Matthew. Our next athlete then is Manu Roman of France. Another very well-known name on the lead circuit from Briançon. Second at the IFSC World Cup in Briançon in 2011. Fourth at Mokpo last year. As at the start of this year, though, has never had a gold medal despite frequent podium positions. It's a frequent finalist, Manu. Currently world ranked 8th, 4th on the World Cup rankings so far for this year though. Also finished up 4th at the end of 2011. Came 5th at Perm just recently, missed out on the Imst final by 1 spot. He was in 9th place at the end of Imst. Came 5th at Briançon this year, 4th at Chamonix at the European Championships. Missed out on a majority of the 2012 season as well. Which I believe was due to injury. We were talking about that just recently with Sebastian over in Perm. So a relatively straightforward route to start us off here with the men's, relatively vertical. Doesn't do much meandering. A little bit of a slopey section in the middle, which is just reaching up to now Manu. But the beat is relatively straightforward as well, not too tricky. A little bit of a technical section as you move up towards the left-hand side of this blue section that Manu's just moving onto now. He's roughly about 5 moves away from that little bit of a technical section, as he then moves over to the right a little bit more, still staying within that pretty straight line though as we move up. And then there's the 4 or 5 moves around the lip at the top that caused Lucas Cobb to fall a little bit earlier on then as well, that could see some athletes struggling with that section as we move through the day. So here now then Manu reaching up to that technical section I was talking about, the volume just above him now. 3 or 4 holds just underneath that, and then moving over to the right hand side a little bit as well once he's got his feet up in a moment's time. That's up there then for Manu. Easily managed there. It's looking like we're going to see a pretty straightforward run here for the male athletes. We are mixing up some of the more experienced athletes at the start of this qualification round here at the moment. We have seen a few of them climb already, but it doesn't seem to be causing much of a challenge. Louis Timmermans with an easy top earlier as well. Mikhail Chernikov, Armin Terminason, and now also Manu Roman. We now move over to Italy with Francesco Vetterata, who comes out to start his climb here as well. And we're not envisioning really any problems for him on this one either. Another well-known male athlete. Born in 1992, 16th at the World Cup in Cran in 2012. And also at Perm 2012, was World Cup ranked 19th at the end of the season in 2012, came 29th at the World Championships in Paris. Starting off now for Italy, Francesco Vetterata. And we are about to get things started with our first female athlete as well. She moves out for Austria and gets started with Barbara Bacher here, just next to Francesco. Take you over to Barbara in just a few seconds time. She's just starting off on a volume-based start on the female route. She's just beside the male route here. So men's and women's group 1 now for us at the moment. And here she is. She's just got over this volume section at the start. Going to move up and over to the right hand side now and up towards this Jiu-Jitsu hold just above her. You can just see it there creeping into the shot. Using the edge here, she's going to strike up to the left-hand side in a moment on these blue holds, so you can see that. We've seen the Jiu-Jitsu holds quite a lot recently in the bouldering this year. Designed by French setter Laurent Laporte. Getting a foot up into the dish there, you can see on the Jiu-Jitsu, and up again. Again, though, pretty much straightforward, pretty much straight up for the female athletes here as well. I believe there's a little bit of a deviation towards the right-hand side, towards the top part of this wall for the female athletes. Pretty much a straightforward line to follow for both male and female routes here, starting us off today. Once the women's have started to get underway a little bit more, then I'm going to be chatting to our route setters in a few moments' time. We'll go and grab them in a moment. I'll answer all your questions about the rough grading that they would give these routes, about how long they are, and what their intentions are with the stylistic traits of both of these two routes as well. So another top for Francesca Vetterata is what we thought we'd see happening there. No challenges really so far today, no shocks. You can see Barbara Backer here as well, approaching the top of the wall, just passing through that sort of almost roof section here on the wall. Nice to see some different angles happening towards the top of the wall. Barbara now pushing up again. And an easy top for her as well. Cam getting in touch on the Twitter saying I can see some very unexpected slips going into that green pocket early on. I'm assuming you mean on the men's route there, Cam, as you're starting to move towards the little bit of an increase on the incline. We haven't seen any yet, but we'll wait and see. Our next athlete out then will be Ramone for Spain. Our current world rank #1. Definitely want to keep an eye on as we move through the competition here. We would expect to see a very easy top from him. And over on the female route, in just a few moments' time, we'll be welcoming Alexandra Golovina for Russia. Now that Barbara Backer is back down again. So where Ramone is now is where I'm expecting you're talking about there, Cam, with the green pocket. Crossover onto the pinch and then over again. to the right, swinging the foot out there. Ramani giving him a bit more support before he moves around his first lip here on the wall. No problem here though for Ramani. If you are joining us this morning, let us know where you're joining us from. Get in touch with us. You can do so on Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. Let us know where in the world we are finding you this morning. I know we're being joined by both Canada and Australia at the moment. Where else is tuning in? Top there for Ramone, exactly what we'd expect. And an early fall for Alexandra Golovina there, just as she was moving into that almost roof section. But we saw Barbara Backer flying through with a little bit of confidence earlier on. Not so for Alexandra Golovina here, though. She's back down on the ground now, as is Ramone, after a little bit more of a successful run from him. So, very little division in the men's so far. Then it looks like we're in for a bit of an interesting ride. We'd expect the second route for the men's to be extremely difficult later on, to give us a bit of definition as we move into our semi-finals tomorrow as well. Our next female athlete out onto the wall then will be Dinara Fakhretdinova, our new European champion and becoming a very frequent finalist on the IFSC season this year. So Alexandra Kalina here for Russia, next to Dinara Fakhretdinova for Russia as well. Keep your eyes peeled on Dinara as she makes her way through this climb. Barbara Backer already with the top here on the female route. An early fall after Barbara for our second athlete, also from Russia, Alexandra Golovina, and now on to Dinara Fakhretdinova as she starts her climb. Her first climb here at the World Cup in Perm 2013. We're also currently with Alexandra Kalina. Again, a relatively easy move across there from the pocket over onto the other side. So Cam, I think you might have called that one a little bit too early, dude. Unless it's a different pocket that I haven't spotted yet. Alexander Kalina here, 27 years old, from Krasnoyarsk. I'm going to pronounce that properly now. Krasnoyarsk. There we are, got there in the end. Looking at previous results then for Alexander, 25th at the World Cup in Kran in 2010, 21st at the European Championships in Imst and Innsbruck in Austria in 2010 as well. And that was the last time we saw Kalina on lead. Previous best for him is 15th place at Chamonix in 2008 in the speed and lead there. That's up there for Alexandra Kalina then as well. Seeing very little division so far in the male athletes. Female athletes, Donara now in the section that brought down her teammate just a few moments ago, Golovina. See if Donara gets on with this section now then, these next 2 or 3 moves. A tricky point before then moving on to a relatively straightforward top. And a top there then for Dinara Fakhrudinova. So 2 tops already on the female Route 1, and we've had a total of 6 or 7 from the men already. We're about to welcome Min Hyunbin onto the wall now, winner of Motpo last year. Min now starting off his climb on the first route here today, Route 1. And next up for the female athletes, then another well-known name is Ellen Janiko. Just about to start her first climb of the day as well. Winner of Briançon last year. Moving way up on the World Cup rankings this year as well. Just to go over to Min Hyunbin for a moment. Then currently Min is world ranked 6th. He's also World Cup ranked 6th this year, 2013 as well. He came 8th in Perm just recently, 4th at Imst.
I know.
So frequently making finals and higher positions throughout this year for him. Also 3rd place at the men's bouldering Asian Continental Championship in Tehran this year also as well. Ellen, 19 years old, 7th at Purs just recently, 4th at Imst, 3rd at Briançon, 3rd at the European Championships in Chamonix as well. So already 2 bronze medals so far this year at the Euro Champs and also on the IFSC's lead season as well. Definitely stepping up her game. She's currently World Cup ranked 3rd at the moment and world ranked 4th.
Закончил спортсмен из Кореи Перм Мир. К старту готовится спортсмен из Израиля Орбексе.
The next athlete or wrestler of Israel.
Закончила свое выступление Элен Жанико, спортсменка из Франции, и на старте Екатерина Головина, Россия.
Winning qualification, Екатерина Головина of Russia is preparing to start.
How have you found being in Russia and setting here at the moment? Are you looking forward to the rest of the competition?
Well, we spent a week here, and then actually everything's going quite okay. Well, it's Russian style, but at least we have everything to work, and then we said what we want to. So now let's see what happens today, and then we'll fix that for tomorrow morning.
So how long does the setting process take? I mean, how much do you and, say, Vincent as well, who's moving around, how often do you guys get together before you actually arrive here at the venue and then start setting these rings? Do you get long to plan and organise what you want to set?
No, this year when you're the chief, you could normally choose who you're coming with. So coming here with Vincent, we didn't work specially for this event before, but I know Vincent for more than 10 years, and we set a lot of things together. So it's much more easier to work with somebody you really know. So I know what he do when he works. He know what I do, so we could not always try everything that the others do. So it goes quickly. So it's a good thing that we could sort of make a team that we know, and so it do help forward, of course.
So for these ones we're looking at now, then we've got the men's Route 1 and women's Route 1 happening behind us at the moment. Talk to me a little bit about the one on the far left-hand side, the men's Route 1. Relatively vertical route, pretty much straight up, doesn't move too much either side. What's the stylistic choice for this route?
Well, the fact that it goes straight up, we don't really have the choice, because we have to make 4 routes on this wall, and then the beginning of the wall is pretty wide, but on the top it's pretty not so much space, so we have to make it the route straight up. So this is not a choice. About the route, this route is I said this route, so let's say it's more like I don't know how can we say, but maybe it takes a little bit long time to climb in this route. The second route this afternoon, Vincent said it. It's quite the same level, but Vincent said things with more theory climbing. You have to climb faster in Vincent's route than in this one. In this route you can take your time, and then but you have to be concentrate on what you do. So, and after the wall looks like not so much overhanging, but it is overhanging.
It's just the first section here that's relatively flat, and then it just starts to bow out, doesn't it, towards the top?
It's this wall. I mean, you have overhanging, and after very like almost a slaver. So, but it's the way it is. So.
The couple of falls that we have seen so far have been exactly where Orweschler just came down here. As you're moving from the volume on the left over towards the midsection again there, what is it about that move that's costing a couple of athletes at the moment? What is that move there?
For me, nothing special, but well, it's going in the biggest roof of the route, but except this, it's nothing special. I mean, there's good holds at this point, and maybe they start being tired there, and because it starts to be physical, they fall here. But I have no special explanation for this move.
So would you say this is kind of a sustained sort of route with a more of a kind of powerful sort of finish as you move towards the top? Or is it more of a technical style? It's
more like a technical style, maybe we could say this, yes. But
let's move on to the women's then as well. We'll go over to the right-hand side now. There's a really nice little kind of semi-roof section towards the top here as well. What kind of style is this route here that you're looking at?
Well, for the women, the first thing is that they're only 25, and then we know that there will be 25 or 27. So we just try to make something in the style that look like the semi-final to have information, but the level of the route is not so high. So normally it should be absolutely no problem for, I think, maybe the 10 or even 14, 15 best girls. I think it's going to be not so much used today, but whatever, all the girls are qualified, so it's we have to make qualification, but there's not a lot of interest in this qualification right now.
And stylistically, what are we looking at here? We've got this nice sort of like volume section at the start. You've got the jiu-jitsu hold in the middle there. Then you've got this nice little semi-roof before the top. What kind of a style is this? Are we looking at power, technique?
Well, it's more technique because they are in the part of the wall which is the less overhanging. But we try to make interesting routes. So the girls don't have. The level is not so high, but we try to make it interesting routes, like so they could take pleasure by timing. So I don't know if it's going to be the case, but that's what we try to do. So I mean, it's really for the best girls, it's going to be easy. So we just try to make them funny moves and pleasure to climb. So that's the thing. But of course, this route is maybe the more technical route because, except in the roof. All the rest of the wall is not overhanging at all, so it's the most technical route, of course.
And just to wrap up finally, before I get back over there again and let you settle into watching them, for the men's route and then for the women's, these two route ones, can you give us a rough grading on both of these for the men's first? Approximately?
Approximately, the men's route might be, I think, something like 8A plus. And the women's route might be 7C plus or something like that. So.
And on the men's, we're looking at how many moves towards the top, roughly?
The two men's routes is 40 moves, and I think the two girls' routes is maybe 42 or 43, something like this. It's pretty close. So.
Matthew, thank you very much. I'm going to let you go and settle into the
Thank
day.
you.
You can have a chat on later on for the group 2 as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Have a
of
chat
course
with
we'll
them.
do this, and then well, we'll see after the day how it goes for tomorrow. So,
Brilliant.
you.
Matthew, thank you very much. Matthew there, our chief route setter. I'm going to go back over and carry on now as we move on to, I believe, Thomas Tauporn that's up on the wall at the moment. We're going to have a chat about him as he moves through today as well.
Закончил Томас Тауporn, спортсмен из Германии. На старт приглашается Глеб Волков, Россия.
The next climber, Lev Volkov of Russia, is preparing to start.
So nice to have a quick catch-up chat with one of our route setters here, our chief route setter Matthew, about these first 2 routes we're looking at then. So the rough estimate is around 40-ish moves for the men, roughly the same for the women as well in terms of length on this 19.5 metre high wall. For the men's we're looking at around an 8A-ish, and for the women's a 7C plus. That gives you a rough estimate on both of these routes here that are starting things off today. It's looking like Matthew already is looking forward to trying to spice things up a little bit as he moves into the semi-finals. I'll try and have a chat to Vincent as well a little bit later on. He was talking about a few moments ago, another member of the route setting team as we move through the competition here then today. If you want to get in touch with us here at the venue, you can do so on Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. I can see Cam still rambling on about this pocket. I think I can see it. There's a green pocket about 2/5 of the way up the wall as you move into the first overhanging section really on the wall. We're about to see our Russian athlete Gleb Volkov approach that in around 5-6 moves time. We'll talk you through it as we're going on. Now Cam's thinking that's a bit of a tricky move there for them. The only couple of falls that we've seen so far though have been up towards the top section around the yellow pyramid volume on the men's. We currently have Kim Jae-in on the wall for Korea, who I was suggesting if you did miss it, you should get onto the YouTube and go and have a look at hers just recently where she took the gold. Incredible final performance there from her. A more or less perfect climb. If you want to see that, you can do so on the IFSC's YouTube channel. Gleb Volkov, 23 years old now. He's just moved through that pocket that I believe Cam is going on about, and up into the midsection here as well. Approaching the halfway point now, 23-year-old athlete from Novosibirsk. Kim Jae-in now in the final couple of moves. On her first route here today, we would expect to see her flying through that one. World ranked number 1 at the moment, Kim Jae-in. How's everyone doing back home then? Let us know, get in touch with us on Twitter.
Please welcome Maria of Russia.
So Volkov again down here at that same point, the yellow pyramid.
Закончил Глеб Волков и на старт приглашается.
Shout out to Pete that's joining us, just returned from a fun night in Bolton, home now. What a great surprise to find a League World Cup on, and one of my favourite athletes, Kim Jae-in, on the wall. She's just got down. Very easy first start for her there. How was your night out in Bolton, Pete? It's pretty early. You've had a long one there. It's about 5:30, I think, over in England now. So kudos. The commitment there is impressive. Nice to see you with us this time of the morning. I'm sure Mike's a little bit jealous. So we are currently with Maria Belomasnova and also Ramon de Grange. See a flexible side of Maria here, resting on that lean out onto the grey volume over the left-hand side now, taking a moment to shake out before she now starts to push up again. Ramon de Grange up on the wall now as well, this tricky section that we've seen a couple of our male athletes come down from. Is it going to be okay for him? The successful attempts have been done the way that we've just seen Ramon doing it there, keeping the hand on until the toe hook's in there and both feet are on that part of the wall before then taking the hand off and moving up again over onto the right hand side. Ramon looking strong here at the moment. It's looking like that upper section is all just about keeping the feet on.
Закончил спортсмен из Франции Роман Дюгранж. И на старт приглашается Юрий Новицкий, Россия.
Yuri Novitsky of Russia is preparing to start.
Уважаемые любители скалолазания, просьба поддерживать спортсменов,
Maria
когда они выходят
Bolesnova.
на старт, эмоционально заряжали и вы, и они вас.
Moving into the roof section now, we're about to welcome our next male athlete out, and that will be Yuri Novitsky. In a few moments' time. Next couple of moves could be quite tricky for Maria. Maria after some support here. 2 or 3 moves away from the top, waving to the crowd. Switching to a bit of a drop knee there. Just 2 moves away now. She just needs to get up there and clip in. Nice and steady. She levels herself up a little bit higher here. That's the final hole. Clips in here. Very dramatic descent.
И к старту готовится спортсмен из Японии Мамока Ода.
Yuri Novitsky starting off here as well then. We now move over on the female route to Momoka Oda. Momoka Oda, 19 years old. Previous World Youth Champion, currently world ranked 7th at the moment. World Cup rank for this year so far in 4th place. 3rd at Perm just recently, took the bronze medal there. Took the silver medal at IMSH this year as well. Also a couple of results on the bouldering season this year. She came 5th at Innsbruck, 5th at Toronto, 2nd at the bouldering in Chongqing. That's all this year so far for this young athlete from Yamaguchi. Definite contender for the top of the podium places. And over the next few years, we're sure to see her increase her final positioning much more frequently as well. Very easy transition for her from the youth categories over onto the seniors. Early fall there for Yuri Novitsky. A point that we haven't seen an athlete come down on before.
Россия.
Dmitry Bakiryanov from Russia is preparing to start.
Move on to Dmitry Fakiryanov of Russia on our Route 1 now in a moment. So we at just a few moments' time. Momoka Oda starts her climb here on women's Route 1. Dmitry now approaching the wall. Shout out to Pete saying, I've had a fantastic night, thank you very much. I'm really enjoying the World Cup. Think tomorrow I'll sleep all day. Nice to have you with us again, Pete. Tomorrow we have the semi-finals in the morning, so yeah, you're allowed to sleep through that one, but the finals are on the evening. We're sure to see a packed crowd here, guys. 2 full days of coverage for you. We've got a long one for you today as well. After we finish this, the Group 1 qualifications here, We will then be going over to an opening ceremony at the venue here with lots of dancing and other things occurring. And then we come back for the Group 2 qualifications a little bit later on today. Group 2 qualifications due to start around 1:30 local time to us here. After that, we take another little bit of a break while they are warming up on the speed route, and then we start the qualifications for the speed at around about 6 o'clock. We move all the way through to 9 o'clock local time here tonight, where we wrap up things with the flower ceremony after the Speed World Cup is finished. So yes, we are completing the Speed World Cup today. We are seeing the entire Speed World Cup later on from 6 till around 9 o'clock. Currently though, around about halfway through our athletes in the Group 1 qualifications for the lead World Cup here. Glad that people are enjoying. Dmitry Fakiryanov, definitely one to watch here on home turf. Challenged Ramone recently, believe it or not, in the European Championships during the qualifications in the semi-finals. Lost it a bit towards the finals, but we've seen him make finals again since then. I believe it was Briançon just recently. Potential star of tomorrow for Russia here. As you can see there, look, resting in a relatively awkward position. This is one of his traits. Seems to find rests in places where there are no rests. As long as he doesn't get too ahead of himself, we should hope to see Dmitry in the finals, and also Amoka Oda in the finals as well. Here she is moving into this semi-roof section at the top of the female route here. Easy top there from Amoka Oda, exactly what we'd expect for our young athlete from Japan. Saw her yesterday hanging about the venue with one of her team coaches looking at the move here in the venue. A lot of the athletes are gathered at the bottom of the wall, sitting around having a look up at the wall. No isolation at this section of today. Will be as we move through into the semi-finals and the finals. At the moment, here is Dmitry. Looking relatively comfortable here as well, slow and steady, taking his time. 2 moves away from the top now. And in a few seconds we'll be welcoming Mathilde Romain onto the female route as well. But here we are then with Dmitry, the last move here for him. Nice and simple for Dmitry as well. Good finish there for him. We're about to move on the male route to Dmitry Bogolmanov.
Qualification man Dmitry Bogomolov of Russia is preparing to start.
Mathilde Roumain. Another impressive start to the season this year for her. Another one to keep an eye on as we move through the competition. We expect to see a good show here from her, and also the one that's about to follow her, Magdalena Roak, is really the main challenger to the two senior athletes that are leading the way on the lead season, Mina Markovic and Kim Jae-in. The main challenger to the two of them, Magdalena Roak, just moving out of the World Youth Championships this year, still very young. We'll be talking about her in a few moments' time. For now, then, Mathilde Roumain, world ranked 14th, World Cup ranked this year in 10th place. Came 12th in Purs, unfortunately just missed out on the final on her home turf. Just missed out on a final in Imst as well. She came 9th there, but 6th at Chamonix this year at the European Championships. Last year, looking at her results, 6th at Mokpos, 8th at Imst. So used to being in a final. We expect her to find no problems here with this one either. Another early fall then for our Russian athlete here. We move on to Qingha Wang from China as our next male athlete out on this, the Route 1 for today.
Attention please. Now it will be the technical break for cleaning the routes.
Но я с удовольствием объявлю спонсоров сегодняшних соревнований. Салон цветов и подарков «Фан-Фан», букет эмоций. Ведущий российский производитель спортивной одежды и снаряжения, компания Red Fox. Группа компаний «Дорфан», открывая будущее.
So roughly, well, we are exactly halfway now actually through our Group 1 qualifications with Qingha Wang about to come out. You can see Magdalena Roak moving around on the ground waiting for Mathilde to finish up before she gets to go on her attempts on the wall now as well. So we're seeing some relatively straightforward routes here. The beat doesn't look too complex. It doesn't look like it's taxing the athletes too much. Just to give you an update on what we actually are looking at based on the conversation I had with Matthew, our chief setter, earlier on today. For the men's then, we're looking at around 42 moves on the 19.5 metre high wall here in Perm. Around 42 moves and around an 8A to an 8A plus. For the women's then, around a 7C plus for the 19.5 metre wall and around 40 moves for them. Mathilde just sorting out a footing here, fiddling around a little bit, coming back down again. And she needs to get that right foot up a little bit higher. It's what we've seen from Kim Jae-in a little bit earlier. There we are, it's just shifting up now, over into the middle again there. It's going to give her the height that she needs as she crosses her weight over to go up with the right now. She can even go up again with the right foot. Yep. So there was another hold a little bit higher there that she could have gone up for. Interesting to see her falling at that point. And let's hope that it's enough to see her through into the semi-finals. She has another climb yet to come today, though, for the qualifications. As we wait for our next couple of athletes to come out onto the wall, here's an interesting fun fact for you about Russia. We haven't done one of these in a while, so I thought I'd pick it up again. Lake Baikal is the largest freshwater lake in the world. This is in Russia. It reaches 1,642 meters. which is 5,387 feet in depth and contains around 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water. 20% of the fresh water on this planet is located in Russia in one lake. It's just a fun fact for you. As we welcome our next couple of athletes in a few moments' time then, moving back over onto the wall, it'll be Qingha Wang next up, and then Magdalena Roach for the women's. See Magdalena moving around, and Jane pacing around as well. She's already finished her first climb, she gets to go and relax now. So a little bit later on.
Сентября 2013 года. Кубок мира, и, я так понимаю, самые активные, самые спортивные сегодня здесь. Ребята, ну, есть несколько розыгрышей. У кого самая большая нога? Самая большая нога. Кто считает, что у него самая большая нога? Но имеется в виду от начала до конца. Именно размер стопы.
So it's looking like some sort of discussions going on at the bottom of the walls. Looking like we're probably going to be having a clean now as well. Our two route setters getting set up there. You can see Vincent and Matthew at the bottom of the walls. Matthew on the right hand side there. Vincent is the guy in the black shirt on the left. He's part of our route setting team here. Matthew, the chief setter, the guy on the right. It's just coming over now to have a chat with Vincent. So we're going to have a clean here by the look of things, halfway point. And all.
Ну, я не скажу, это не самая большая нога. Я видал, ну, хотя... Вообще до 32 сантиметров я видел ногу, да. Есть вообще тут обладатель такой стопы? Здесь в комплексе не Сухарева. Как вас зовут, мужчина? Андрей, ну вы представляете, вы самый активный из здесь сидящих, и поэтому за вашу 25-сантиметровую ногу предлагаю вот такой вот. Это вам, спасибо. И, конечно же, пол-литра водички. Да? Ой. Но это еще, как говорится, начало. Следующий мой вопрос будет вопрос аукциона.
So currently there are plenty of tops to start us off on our Group 1 qualifications. Most athletes managing the top here on both male and female routes. We are exactly halfway now. Other athletes still yet to come on the male list then include Gautier Supper, Mario Lechner, Evgeny Zazulin, Clement Betchen, Semen Chesnikov, Stefano Gazolfi, Thomas Ballet, Domin Skofic, Christoph Hanke, Jakob Schubert and Kim Yarbi. So we are missing a fair few of the big names. No Sean McCall here for this event. No Magnus Midbow either. Jörg Verhoeven, strangely absent from the leads at the moment as well. Bit of a smaller contingent here in Russia. It's looking like the female route is not going to be cleaned at this moment in time. That's probably because they haven't actually reached their halfway point yet. We started off with the men's a little bit earlier. Remember, we had more male athletes than we did women. All in all, 32 male athletes and 25 female. So I think we're going to go a couple more with the female athletes, and then we'll have a break to clean in a few moments' time. So men's route's being cleaned at the moment, but we are back over with Magdalena Roach starting things off on the female route now.
И вопрос очень простой, на самом деле. Учебной части альпинистского лагеря «Молния» Иван Иосифович Антонович провел первые в мире официальные соревнования по скалолазанию с программой, положением и правилами и призами. Вопрос. Чему были посвящены эти соревнования? И на трассе спортсменка из Англии Магдалена Рёк.
Magdalena Röck of Austria is preparing to study and study.
Magdalena Röck, the new young athlete, still just moving out of the World Youth Championships at the moment. As I said a few moments ago, she's the one that is challenging our two senior leaders of the lead World Cups. That's Mina Markovic and Kim Jae-in. Has the potential to start trying to challenge those two athletes for a place at the top of the world rankings over the next year or so. She's putting on quite the show at the moment, frequently outperforming Mina Markovic on the World Cup qualification stages so far this year. We would expect to see a top here from her.
Меня тоже нету. Интернет? Геомистр классно полезет, да? Геомистр классно полезет. У меня шнурочка полезет. А шнурочка полезет.
And as we expected, a very easy top there for Magdalena Röck as well. We move on to our next female athlete then. That'll be Anastasia Samolina.
Закончила свое выступление Магдалена Рёк, спортсменка из Австрии, и к старту приглашается. Анастасия Самолина, Россия.
Round of applause from the Russian crowd here already. They are getting the support. There is a little bit of a gathering, even at the qualification stage here. We're imagining that through the semi-finals and then definitely to the finals, this entire arena will be packed. 18 years old, Anastasia from Yekaterinburg, world ranked 33rd. Best result so far to date then is up at second place at the Female Youth A Lead European Youth Cup in Moscow. 2012 on home turf then, so she's used to performing well in front of a home crowd. Also a 7th place at the Female Juniors Lead at the European Youth Championship in Imch this year, which was won by Jessica Pills, who again we are missing from this World Cup. I suppose it's understandable as she is still in school. Incredibly impressive performance at the lead Senior World Cup as well in Imch though from Jessica. But 7th place for Anastasia recently, 13th as well at the Female Juniors Lead World Youth Championship in Saanich over in Canada. Pete chiming in about the music, saying, oh dear. I think I'm with you on that one, Pete. It looks like we are finished cleaning the wall on the men's route as well now, so we get ready to welcome our next athlete out, Qing Wang. Qing Wang of China, who's just about to start men's route 1. Anastasia Samoylina approaching the halfway point of the female wall.
Qualification men. The next athlete is
Nice to see a lead male athlete from China.
of the People's Republic of China.
We're expecting to see a few more in the speed a little bit later on as well. Previous world record holder in the speed is here, Quixin Zong for China as well, so there is a bigger contingent from China than just Qing Wang, who's now just starting on the wall. Qing Wang, 32 years old, from Henan, currently lives in Beijing. Roughly halfway on the wall now. Then best result so far to date is 7th place at the men's speed international event in Shenzhen in 2002. Came 7th there. Quite a way back now then. So the most recent result we have for him is 12th place at the men's bouldering in Chongqing this year, which is not half bad at all, considering he's not a frequent IFSC climber. It hasn't been since around 2011, 2010. Even there, only a couple of results, and those were over in China, but pretty impressive to get through into the high semi-finals as well. Not too far away from a place in the finals in Chongqing.
Очень много интересного для вас сегодня еще, как говорится, только произойдет. Все самое вкусное впереди. Закончила Свободина Анастасия. Готовится к старту спортсменка из Нидерландов Ники Ван Берген.
Qualification winner Nikki van Bergen of the Netherlands is prepared to start.
Закончил свое выступление Синхалан и к старту приглашаются спортсмены из Франции. Готье Супер.
Qualification man. The next competitor is Qualification Super of France.
Cam Harrison saying, so with 25 females, will all of them go through to the semi-finals? Yes, is the answer to that question, Cam. Take 26 if you are new to the sport. Thank you for raising it. We take 26 athletes from men's and women's through into the semi-finals tomorrow, which I think is probably why the route setters aren't exactly challenging them so much at the moment. That's what Matthew was saying earlier. The qualifications are kind of by the by at the moment. If anything, we'll go back to speed if there is a problem. If you are new to the sport, the idea is that every single hold on the wall here is numbered, one up to about 40. In this case for the female athletes, 1 to 42 in the men's. Wherever they reach on the wall, that is the score they are given. There is also the plus as well that comes at the end sometimes. Now if you're on the 36th hold, say for example, and you're reaching for the 37th, you manage to get a hand on the 37th, but you don't quite get it and you fall, that will give you a 36 plus. So it shows that you've had positive movement past the 36th hold, very nearly controlled the 37th, but not quite. That'll give you a plus score as well. That helps to divide the athletes also. If we are still tied, if two athletes have 36 plus, then we go to time, and that's how quick they've climbed on the wall. They are timed. They're allotted a certain amount of time, and that's the same for the semi-finals and the finals as well. 8 minutes they get in the finals to climb the routes there. And in this case, as we take 26 men, 26 women through to the semi-finals, all of the female athletes will be going through. And most of the men will be going through as well. So tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is the real decider where the routes are going to have to be played with a little bit more. I think Matthew was very aware of that as well. When I was interviewing him a little bit earlier, he was saying tomorrow we're going to spice it up a bit in the mornings. Gauthier Super and Nicky van Bergen on the wall now. Both of these athletes fast approaching the top of the wall. We would expect, I daren't jinx them, touch wood, but we would expect both of these athletes to get a top here. Nicky van Bergen's been performing very well this year so far. Gauthier Super making frequent finals recently in Imst, and also pushing for it in Purs just recently also as well. Gauthier now just 3 moves away from a top.
Gauthier Super, француз, 90-го года рождения, спортсмен из Австрии. Марио Лехтер.
Qualification man, the next competitor is Mario Lechner of Austria.
А он и так ездит, да. Ти нега не мараш.
И в старту приглашается женская квалификация, дисциплина трудность. Яна.
So Gudea is never down on the ground. We'll welcome our next athlete, Lechner for Austria, just starting off here on his first climb. He's one of our organisers here at the venue. Victor, how are you?
Fine, thank you. It is a little bit. I'm a little bit tired of all organizing process. It was very difficult and 3 nights without sleeping. So, but we are happy that this event is continuing now. So almost everything good. So our dream come true.
How long roughly have you been planning for this event? Has it been quite a long process to get everything ready?
We built this climbing wall about 2 years ago, and when I plan and make a construction engineering, so we also we have already dreamed about climbing wall cup here, because all the sizes of the climbing wall is for the standards of IFSC. So the planning was during these 2 years. So
have you had the speed wall now confirmed that being the official speed wall? Are we likely to see some world records set here? Are the angles all right? It's been approved by the IFSC, yeah?
We tried to do everything for the standards of IFSC, but we didn't make a homologation of this wall. But all the holes here with IFSC label. So, but now only the top 30 holes can be official holes. 2 years ago, HRT holes was official also. So nowadays it's not. It can be for the records, for the world records.
Okay, but then over on the lead wall then, so you said that this wall's been built for 2 years, so you've been spending 2 years preparing for Perm here.
This wall was built in just for 3 months, but 2 years which this wall exists, we were planning this competition, and so 1 year ago we make inquiry for the IFSC that we wish to organize this competition. We made all documents, and they confirmed.
So, do you hold local cups here as well? Is it quite a big sport in Perm? Do you get a lot of climbers coming down for? Do you have like national championships or any other kind of local cups on the wall here in Perm?
We have organized already 2 Russian Cups and 1 championship of Russian, but still in our city, unfortunately, climbing is not so popular, and we are trying to do our best to change the situation. Maybe today we will see more spectators, and then they will come to the climbing gym and will try. So, and maybe over 3 or 4 years we will see another champions from Perm.
Well, we're definitely seeing an increase in the Russian lead athletes this year. You have Dinara Fakhridinova has been now the European champion. She's really improved over the last year. You've got Dmitry Fakiryanov, who's just starting to put on a fantastic show, challenging Ramonet at the European Championships. You must be very proud as a nation that you're now getting these lead specialists.
Yes, I have seen previous World Cup in Purs in lead, and Dinara was almost third placed. It was really sad for us that she was fourth, but we hope that in nearest time somebody will take a first place from Russian team.
Well, it could be today. I mean, they're on fantastic form at the moment. Most of them have topped. Dmitry made it look easy. Dinara's making it look easy. Mikhail Chernikov came out first, waltzed up the wall. So over today or tomorrow, let's hope that we see some of them on the podium, right?
Yeah, we hope.
Victor, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Это Кубка мира 2019 года. Только для вас и только хорошее настроение.
Nice to chat to one of the organisers there. 2 years ago this wall was built. Just a bit of extra information. It also holds Russian national championships as well here, as well as this IFSC World Cup. We've got the speed later on. Now I believe what Victor was saying there was that the holds aren't actually top 30 holds, and that means that at the moment they're not official by the look of things. I will get that confirmed, but it's looking like unfortunately we're going to be seeing no world records set on this speed wall later on today. So we'll wait and see. I will find out that and get that confirmed for you a little bit later on. At the moment though, we're back over onto the lead wall. We currently have male athlete Evgeny Zazulin for Russia, another Russian athlete, another one that could be challenging for a place in the semi-finals and also pushing for a place on the finals as well. And while that's going on, the female route is currently being cleaned. I'll keep you updated on that as we move through.
Закончилась чистка трассы и технический перерыв на трассе у женщин.
Zazulin looking pretty calm here, taking a moment to rest, grab a bit more chalk before pushing up again. Roughly halfway on the wall now, he's moving into that tricky side section where he has to move over to the right-hand side around the yellow diamond volume. Oh, let's see how he gets on as he approaches that one now. Got to remember to keep his feet on here at this point on the wall. Commander giving us a shout out as well, saying nice interview with Victor at the IFSC World Cup in Perms. know how hard it is to build a wall and then host the world after. I know you do. And actually, we've had quite a small turnout here compared to Canada. And a shout out from Mike as well, Commander. Says hi, sitting next to me here. Hello. And also from Johnny. Zazulin got the feet in here, nice and secure. No real stresses for him at the moment. We move over to Tina Sesterzik on the right hand side for our female athletes then. And again, it's caught him there by the look of things. Now we've seen the most successful athletes after they've secured that toe hook there and got both feet on and moved over to the right hand side, got their hands on the yellow holds. The most successful athletes have then walked up the yellow diamond volume a little bit further and got their feet a little bit higher before moving over again to the right. It's almost like replicating the same move again, just a little bit higher. That crossover to the right hand side, they have to do the same thing again by walking their feet up, crossing over again to the right. Unfortunately, that didn't quite work out there for Evgeny Zazulin. He's now back down on the ground. We're still with Tina Sesterzik though. Oh, sorry, it's Jana Shereshneva. Jana lives in Krasnoyarsk. She was first at the Women's Lead European Cup in Ekaterinburg. 11th at the Women's Lead European Championship in Chamonix. 28th at the Climbing World Cup in Briançon. 25th at the Bouldering World Cup in Kitzbühel. She frequently climbs an 8C level out on rock and a little bit higher as well. Chereshneva, so this at a 7C shouldn't be too much of a problem for her at all, especially considering when we were chatting recently in PERS with our route setting team about the difference between sport climbing indoor competition standard routes and on-sighting out on rock as well. She did come first at the Rockmaster in 2011 though. Jana Chereshneva here. On the left-hand side now, we have Arseny Kupchuk.
Qualification man. The next climber is Perm of Slovenia.
So we get ready to switch around, have our next two athletes up on the wall here. Commander just saying hello to Mike and also saying miss you and your team, as does my team, Megan, Seb, Ryan, Sammy, Stephen, etc. Maybe a lead speed World Cup in August 2015. Any chance we might see a World Cup at the Boulders in the next few years? You tell us. Look forward to that one. Commander, our organizer over at the World Youth Championships in Canada early this year. If you missed out on any of that action, you can of course find all of it on YouTube, on the IFSC's channel there. Klemen Becin for Slovenia now on the wall. And I believe this is Tina Susterzik.
Номер 54 на трассе, женская квалификация, спортсменка из Словении.
Tina Susterzik, born in Kran, lives in Zabnica, 29th at the Women's Lead World Championship in Paris, 13th at the Female Juniors World Youth Championship in Singapore 2012, 21st at the Women's Lead World Cup in Briançon 2011 as well. Klemen Becin of Slovenia, 31 years old, from Kran as well, lives in Terzic. World ranked 21st, World Cup ranked 24th so far this year. That's after a 13th place in Perm just recently, and 11th place at the Men's Bouldering European Championship in Eindhoven this year. Also a 10th at the Bouldering in Kitzbühel this year. And the last time we saw him in finals was in 2011 on a Lead World Cup in Amman, where he came 4th. The last medal for him, interesting as we're talking to Commander, was actually over in Canada. In 2011, Klemen at the bouldering there took the silver medal in Canmore. Athlete that competes in 2 disciplines, both bouldering and lead. That's up there for Klemen Becin. Still with Tina Susterzik, moving into this mini roof section here. Our next male athlete to come out and join us will be Andriy Shagin in just a few moments' time.
I'll do.
Андрей Шагин, 95-го года рождения, Россия. Номер 54, Тина Сусверсич, закончила свое выступление. К старту приглашается Мария Колоконина, Россия.
Qualification to winning. The next competitor is Maria Tolokonina from Russia.
Нарізан, не то слабо, а сам світок даш на ногу погреш.
Мария Колоконина, Россия.
Шлок се къру страшно. Pa če ponavad ne maram to te klapke. Te lahke so mi res. To mi je pur skul, vem, da je ponavad dež vse skupaj, da se moraš nekaj fajtati. Ne pa to.
Andriy Shagin and Maria Tolokonina now on the wall. Both for Russia. Russia obviously allowed a higher contingent here of athletes as it is on their home turf. For any of you that might be joining us, if you are athletes yourself and if you're not managing to make it to this World Cup, and definitely for Cam as well, a question for you guys. Competing on the World Cups and competing on home ground, how does it differ for you, Cam? For example, at the Nationals and at the Cups back over in Australia, compare that with the World Cups and the World Youth Championships that you've been to as well. What's the difference between climbing in front of a home crowd? What kind of difference does that give you in your performance? I was talking to some of the younger athletes recently as well, saying what a boost it is, but then there's also the pressure as well, isn't there, of having to perform well in front of a home crowd, as these two athletes are probably no doubt feeling now as well. So a very interesting performance from one of our Russian athletes at the start of today. Was definitely playing with the crowd when she was climbing. Early fall there, unfortunately, for our male athlete. We're still moving on though with Maria at the moment. She's about to push into that roof section. Round of applause already. Then you can see this home crowd support for our next athlete to come out for Russia. Viktor Muishin.
Мария Толоконина закончила свое выступление. И к старту приглашается номер 56 Наталья Безбородова, Россия.
Qualification women, the next athlete is Natalia Bezborodova of Russia.
Our next female athlete, Natalia Bezborodova, is about to come out, and after her will be Evgenia Malamid. Starting to move towards the end of the female athletes now as well, also the end of the male athletes. Not too many left to come before we have a little bit of a break and come back with the qualification second round later on today.
Наталья Безбородова, Россия.
Витя, ты можешь?
Natalia Bezborodova, 23 years old. Kemerovo. No previous results on the IFSC World Cups. Semen Chesnokov now out on the men's route, so I believe he's competing later on in the speed as well. Again, a round of applause from the Russian audience watching here today. They're expecting that audience to pick up quite a bit as we move through the rest of the competition into the semi-finals and finals tomorrow as well. And we know how the Russians like their speed, so we're hoping that we should see a good crowd here tonight. Semen Chesnokov, 18 years old, from Krasnoyarsk. 11th at the Male Junior Speed World Youth Championships in Saanich. That was this year. 13th, the male youth A lead, European Youth Championship in Zermazak last year. Best results so far to date then, a silver medal, a second place at the male youth A lead World Youth Championships in Singapore last year, 2012. We were there as well, down on the beach. Natalia back down as well then now, so we move on to our next athlete, another well-known athlete on the women's here. We welcome Evgenia Malamid.
Women qualification, Evgenia Malamid from Russia.
Ну и самое важное, конечно, сегодня, уважаемые зрители, чтобы мы снимали эмоциональные блоки и попытались сделать ближе уже к церемонии открытия волну по трибунам. Конечно же, из вас, уважаемые гости.
Evgenia just starting off here now as well. This is another one that has every chance of making it through not just the semis but also into the finals. Keep an eye on her as we move through the competition here. Evgenia Malamid for Russia, now starting off on the female route. Also still with Semen Chesnikov on the men's, starting to approach that tricky point around the yellow diamond-shaped volume, a little bit, about 5 moves away from where he is now on the wall. Evgenia Malamid, 26 years old from Voronezh, world ranked 10th, currently on the World Cup rankings in 11th place, 6th at IMCHT just recently, 8th at the European Championships in Chamonix as well. Looking at last year, 2012, she made finals 4 times. No, sorry, more times than that. I'm getting myself confused here. 8 or 9 times here. Just going through the results for 2012 then. We have 8th place at Zinning for her, 7th at Perm last year, 8th at the World Championships in Paris, 3rd at the Speed at the Rockmaster in Arco 2012, also 3rd overall at the Rockmaster, 4th at IMCHT last year, and 7th at Chamonix. That's for 2012, so a frequent finalist, Evgenia Malamid. Like Dinara Fakhritinova, another hope for Russia in the lead climbing world. Again, we've seen that crossover to the right-hand side on the male's wall, bringing down another of our athletes. And that's looking like it's going to be the cut-off point for the semi-finals as well, because we are going to lose some of these athletes as we move towards the semi-finals tomorrow. Our next athlete out, another hope for Italy, Stefano Ghisolfi. We would expect to see a very good run here from him. He's about to start on the men's route now. You'll see him appear on your screen on the left-hand side in a few moments' time. Evgenia really taking her time here, but nice and steady. Looking good so far. Evgenia now moving into the last few moves on this wall. Stefano Gazolfi, slow and steady, but he's approaching that point, the cut-off point for the last 4 or 5 male athletes. None of them have got further than this yellow volume Stefano's now reaching up for. Evgenia got to get her feet up here before moving on to the final vertical section of this wall. It's looking like she's going for the lower hold here as well. That cost Mathilde Brumain a top. Not so for Evgenia though. Very nice, Evgenia Malamed securing that place in amongst the higher ranked semi-finalists. As all 25 of these athletes will be going through into the semi-finals tomorrow morning. We take 26 usually, men and 26 women through to the semi-finals. As we only have 25 athletes in the female grouping, then they'll all be going through. Stefano then resting here just before moving over the lip. 3 moves away now from a top. And a top there for Stefano Gazolfi. It's what we expected from both of those athletes. Our next athlete out then is Vesvolod Ilyink for the male athletes, and following Evgenia on the female athletes is Natalia Stepanova for Russia again here. After her we have Jenny Levada. Moving towards the end of Group 1 now. And after we finish with the qualification Group 1, we'll be stopping the stream for a brief moment and starting it off again for the opening ceremony here, which lasts about half an hour, 45 minutes, before we then take over again with qualification Group 2. I think a lot of the world is just about to start waking up. It's about 10 to 7 GMT at the moment. So people a bit further to the west in Europe should hopefully be waking up pretty soon. See some more of you guys joining us as we move through today. Current time here at the venue is now 10 to 12. So we're looking at finishing up around 12:30 at the moment.
С удовольствием объявлю партнеров соревнований. Студия черлидинга «Веска», батут-центр «Кенгуру», семейное кафе и клуб друзей «Смешарики», команда «Дизеров Джампи», отель «Хилтон Гарден», и Перм. Медиапартнеры Европа Плюс, медиапортал «Новости Пермь». И партнером мероприятия является телекоммуникационная компания «Добру». «Добру» предлагает для вас интернет на скорости до 100 мегабит круглосуточно.
Two Russian athletes out on the wall now then. Only 5 more male athletes to come after we finish up with Vesvolod. Amongst them, Domin Skofic and also Jakub Schubert still yet to climb. Vesvolod is 20 years old from Kemerovo. 19th at the Male Juniors Lead World Youth Championship in Singapore last year. Silver medal at the Male Juniors Lead European Youth Cup in Moscow 2012.
Наталья Степанова закончила свое восхождение и в старту приглашается. Jenny Лаварда, Италия.
Qualification women, please welcome Jenny Lavanda of Italy.
Квалификации мужчин приглашается Тома Бале, Франция.
Qualification men, the next competitor is Thomas Ballet of France.
Jenny Levada, the Lady Gecko, now out on the wall. Keen ice climber as well as lead climber. Mainly does endurance-based climbing and lead climbing. We also do see her occasionally on the bouldering. Here she is now for Italy. Next to her is Thomas Ballet, another athlete we've seen in finals this year for France on the males route as well. A top for Jenny Levada then. One move away now as well for Thomas. Another Jenny is down. We'll be welcoming Dana Glimkanova for Russia out. Rongjiang for China. After her, Anna Saigonova, Katarina Posch, Mina Markovic and Yuka Kobayashi still yet to come for the female athletes. Our next athlete out though will be Dana Glimkanova for Russia. In the men's, we welcome Domen Skofic, our fourth to last athlete out now at this first stage.
Qualification movement, the next athlete is Dana Glimkanova of Russia.
На старте мужчина, спортсмен из Словении, Домен Скопич. Бурные аплодисменты.
Qualification man, the next competitor is Domen Skofic of Slovenia.
So just give you an update on those routes then that we're looking at the moment and what we are looking at here. We've got a 19.5 meter high wall, 19.5 meters in height. Bit of an incline section after the flat start to the wall here as well. It does come out onto an incline. And we're looking at an 8A for the men's and a 7C plus for the women's, according to our route setters after a talk with them a little bit earlier on. Matthew, we'll be speaking to him before the second qualifications later on today as well, and then also, of course, before the semi-finals and the finals. But as most of these athletes will be going through anyway due to a relatively low turnout here in Perm, I think the route setter's idea just to give the athletes a taste of the wall here at the qualification stages, not to challenge them too much, maybe lull them into a false sense of security before hitting them with something tomorrow in the semi-finals as well. We've seen plenty of tops for both male and female athletes throughout today already. And now we have Domen on the wall.
свое выступление и к старту приглашается Жон Сен, Китайская Народная Республика.
Qualification winner, the next athlete is Ron Xian of the People's Republic of China.
Дамир Кофич, спортсмен из Словении, закончил свое восхождение и к старту приглашается номер 30 Кристоф Халке, Германия.
Qualification man, the next competitor is Christoph Hanke of Germany.
Жон Сен закончила выступление и к старту приглашается Анна Цыганова, Россия.
Qualification winner, the next climber is Anna Tsiganova of Russia.
Бросаем вокруг магнезия на грифы вправо. Да. Dobro, ja, vredo. Sam je šel pa najljubše. Trokrat sem ugaselengek se v tono magnezija.
Кристоф Ханке закончил выступление и к старту приглашается спортсмен из Австрии Якоб Шуберт.
Qualification man, the next competitor is Jakob Schubert of Austria.
Все внимание на трассу. Якоб Шуберт, Австрия.
Я себе концентрирован на снег.
Анна Цыганова закончила свое восхождение и к старту приглашается.
Here now with our final few athletes at the first stage of our qualification here today with Jakub Schubert now roughly halfway on the wall here. You can see how he gets on as he approaches this diamond shape up towards the top, the yellow diamond. Moving to the right of that, that's been the point that's brought down most of the Russian athletes in the latter half of today. We get ready to welcome our next female athlete as well as we're moving towards the end of our list there also. After which, as I said earlier, we'll be taking a brief break to restart the stream again to show you guys the opening ceremony here in Perm, which will last about half an hour, 45 minutes before we kick things off again with our second set of qualifications later on today as well. Easily managed there by Jakub, that crossover to the right hand side, just 2-3 moves away from the top here now as well. Jakub looking exceptionally strong at the moment. Just recently that gold medal in Purs. They'll be looking to replicate that here in Perm. A much smaller show of top-ranked athletes here in Perm, not many of them here. Got a few big names, but no Sachiyama. We have no Magnus Midbo, no Sean McCall. That's a real window of opportunity for Jakub here. The only person that's really going to be pushing to challenge him is Ramonet and possibly Ramon de Grange.
The next fundant is Jabi Kim of Korea.
On the male listing then, our last athlete for qualification group 1 is Kim Ya-bi, Kim Jae-in's brother. He's coming out now onto his climb, and on the wall for the women's now is Katarina Posch, still with that wrist strapped up. I'm going to have to ask her about that one. The last 4 or 5 events that we've been at, She's had that right wrist strapped with blue. I know that a lot of athletes strap up the back of their necks and shoulders for extra support, or their forearms to offer a little bit of support as well, but I'm hoping this isn't a strain injury for her. Well, we are now joined by Jakob Schubert, who's just got down from the wall. Jakob, how was it this morning for you?
Well, the route wasn't that hard, but it's always kind of difficult to climb routes like that since you're, I don't know, almost every single person topped. So obviously you're like a little nervous climbing. The holds are pretty greasy. It's a little slabby. You have to you have to watch out at all the moves, and it's,
They've put out about an 8A in terms of difficulty for this first group here for today. I'm probably going to be stepping that up a little bit more for the second round of qualifications later. Would you agree with that roughly? Do you think that's about that sort of level?
I don't know, it's hard to say, you know, like I think it's always really hard to give grades in a competition route. It's like there's so many things that influence you while you're climbing, since like pressure, nervosity and stuff like that, but I guess it was a little easier than 8A. The holds aren't too bad. It's just a little sketchy climbing, and you feel a little uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm happy that I could top it.
Have you been out on rock at all recently? Have you been doing any outdoor climbing?
Well, recently not that much. Obviously, like traveling from comp to comp almost. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. That's like a sacrifice that you take right now. Since I'm like doing bouldering and lead, I was traveling so much, and yeah, I'm happy in the winter when I'll have some time off to climb in Spain or wherever.
Now, we were talking recently about the transition for you from the bouldering circuit onto the lead circuit as well, and about you finding your stride. I mean, after Perth just recently, that was obviously you finding your stride and feeling a lot more comfortable. Are you feeling comfortable for this comp?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is like a little different than Perth. I know the wall in Perth for many years already. I knew what to prepare for, you know, like I knew the holds there, I knew the wall fits me very well. This is like a total new wall, like we have never competed here, and we'll see how the routes will be like, but yeah, I feel really confident right now. Obviously after like a victory in Perth, it's always great to go to the next competition. I'm really psyched, and yeah, I feel good about this.
You climb in Innsbruck a lot as well, and we were interviewing a couple of you guys around there when we were there this year for the bouldering, and Anna was saying that you set a lot of the bouldering room yourselves. When you're allowed that opportunity to set your own routes, to challenge yourself on the bouldering gym there. That sort of style of training, has that been happening for quite a long time? Do you find that helps? So if you're able to talk with your trainers and change the wall to what you want to try?
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing is that our boulder room is not color boulders. It's just like randomly holds into the set into the wall, so you can like set your own boulders all the time if you want. And I'm doing also a lot of endurance boulders and like circuits in there, and I think that's like one of the most important trainings to gain endurance, since you like can set the boulder, the circuit exactly as hard as you need it, and you can fight in it and I think yeah, that was also what like helped me in Perth. I was like already really tired, but I could still do like the free moves that got me the victory in the end.
If you do the same thing for the lead season as well, on the lead walls there, are you allowed to rechange the walls like you do with the bouldering in your training?
Well, that was like what I said about lead training. Like the circuits I do only for the lead training, and for the bouldering we like, as I said, there are like all randomly holes in the wall, and you can set your own boulders as you want, obviously. And we change the walls like every 2 months or something. And we could help changing the walls if we want, and we could set it as we want. Obviously, we also need to put some chucks in because they're not only professional climbers there. So
You like to have fun as well at the same time.
yeah.
Now you're feeling pretty good at the moment, and you're on good form, and your endurance is coming back for the lead season, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was kind of tough going from the bouldering into the lead right after Vail. Didn't do so well in the first 2 competitions, but I think that was also mainly about the mental aspect. I wasn't like so much into the league climbing yet. Like I couldn't really figure out how to climb in the semi-final. I was way too nervous. Now I'm like feeling really good in the training, and that helps me a lot because I can go really confident into the routes. You know, I climbed the semi-final with the feeling that like, okay, you got this, you'll do finals. You know, and that's like always good if you have that in your head. You know.
Last thing I wanted to ask you is about the World Championships, which are going to be coming up next year. You know, you're the current world champion in lead climbing now. Is your training going to change next year? Are you going to be spending a bit more time on the lead side of things and not so much on the bouldering to prepare for that World Championship? Or do you think you'll do the same thing and just adjust as you go along?
Yeah, well, I still haven't really figured out what I will do next year. I kind of saw this year again that it's kind of tough to do both seasons. I think you like sacrifice maybe the first 2 competitions each, you won't be in the best shape. And I don't know, maybe I'll just pick some competitions in one season and do the other season like the whole thing. I'm still not sure if I do like the whole bouldering, the whole leads. I know it's kind of hard to decide it because like I enjoy bouldering, on the other side I enjoy lead, like, but definitely the World Championship in lead is going to be the most important competition for me, that's for sure.
Jakob, thank you for talking to us. I'm going to let you go and relax a bit for your second climb.
I will. See you later.
Cheers, Jakob. Jakob Schubert, our current world champion in lead climbing, and he's going to go off and have a bit of a rest now before his second climb later on today. We'll be seeing that a little bit later on.
Заключительная спортсменка. Квалификация женщины, дисциплина трудность. Готовится Юка Каваяши, Япония.
Qualification women, the last athlete is Yuka Kobayashi of Japan.
Always nice to speak to Jakob. We're now with Yuka Kobayashi, our final climber of the first set of athletes here today. As I said, that short break, the opening ceremony, and then back again for round 2 of the qualifications. So Yuka here now on the wall. Another one with an opportunity of making it through into the semi-finals at the very least, if not the finals. She's a frequent semi-finalist. Born in 1987, Yuka, for Japan, part of the Japanese team. I was just talking to Jakob actually before we started going on to that interview about where everybody is and what they're up to. Apparently Jörg Verhoeven is out in Yosemite climbing in the US. Magnus at the moment is deciding not to come, I think due to funds, and sorting himself a little bit of a break there. I think Sean's doing the same thing as well. So we are down some of our big athletes. I'm not sure where Sachiyama is. I should probably ask Yuka about that a little bit later on. But she's 25 years old from Ibaraki. Came 15th at Perth just recently. 8th at the Women's Bouldering World Cup in Munich. 15th at Briançon this year for the lead. Last time she was in finals for lead was Imst 2012 and also Briançon 2012, where she came 7th. But she has also come as high as 2nd before, a silver medal in Zinning 2010. Also a silver medal at the IFSC Asia Championships in Guangzhou in 2008. Kobayashi now roughly halfway on the wall. Our final climb of the first section today.
So Yuka now moving up into the roof section here. We have seen a few problems here, but it's a little bit past this, actually, getting the right foot up. And the last two moves, really, that's cost a couple of the female athletes their climb. Not too many of them struggling with this little bit of an increased roof here. Crowd starting to pick up now. Obviously, a lot of people turning up for the opening ceremony. Hopefully, they'll stay around as we move forward into the second round of qualifications a little bit later on today. I can see Ellen Janikol here on the ground watching Yuka. So these next 2 or 3 moves here now for her, then getting her feet up on here. This is the point. Yuka with the hand on the top then, just to clip in here, and it's hers. Nice finish there for our athlete from Japan. Yuka descends back down onto the ground. That, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our very first section of today. This is our qualification stage 1, our group 1 for both men's and women's. What will happen now is that we're going to take a very brief break. We're going to close the stream for a moment, reopen it again so you can see a very exciting opening ceremony here in Perm with lots of dancing and things going on at the venue. So you can come back and watch that in a few seconds. That's going to last about half an hour to 45 minutes. And what we'll do then is shut the stream down yet again, open up again for you for the qualification group 2 as well. So all that, still more yet to come. Yuki Kobayashi will have a second climb later on, as will all the athletes that you've already seen today. They will be back again later on for the qualifications. Then we go on to the speed qualifications. The athletes, all in all, that will be taking down into just 16 athletes for the speed final rounds, down to 8, down to 4, our small final and our grand final. The entire Speed World Cup is later on tonight. Do not go anywhere, you've been mad to miss it. Thanks for watching on IFSC. We'll see you in a very short while.
Уважаемые спортсмены, уважаемые тренеры, просьба без 10 час